Welcome to the Parsha Perspective. Each week, we will delve deep in a weekly Torah portion to find a practical and insightful way to enhance your daily life. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Rabbi Shalom Yamini, and each week we will look into the weekly Torah portion to find practical and insightful ways to enhance your daily life. This week's Parsha Perspective is in honor of our homeland, Eretz Yisroel. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, may God protect our brave soldiers, and may God return all the hostages from Gaza immediately. This week's Parsha Perspective is in loving memory of Edward Ben Efraim, Shlomo Ben Edward, and Yirachmiel Daniel Ben Gedalia. May their souls be uplifted and may their memories be a blessing. This week's Parsha Perspective is dedicated in honor of the Yahrzeit of HaRav Tzvi Ben Dovid Sacks, Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sacks, the blessed memory. Serving as the Chief Rabbi of the United Kingdom from 1991 to 2013, he authored 25 books that resonated globally. His profound wisdom, combined with his empathy and compassion, established him as a guiding light on the world stage. Rabbi Sacks returned his holy soul on the 20th of Cheshvan in 2022, and yet his teaching continues to grow and inspire and guide countless of people worldwide. Today is his Yahrzeit. Today is the anniversary of his passing, and may his enduring legacy be a source of blessing and growth for generations to come. This week's Torah portion is Parshas Chayei Sarah, Land and Children. Our Parsha begins with the passing of Sarah Imenu at 127 years old. Avraham Avinu mourned deeply for her and then negotiated with Ephron the Hittite to purchase a burial spot for her in Cheshvan. The land, and the cave really, known as the Ma'aras Machpelah, the Cave of Doubles, was acquired for 400 shekels and would serve as a family burial spot for future generations. After mourning for his wife Sarah, Avram turned his attention to finding a wife for his son Yitzchak. He sent his most trusted servant Eliezer on a mission to find this suitable match. Eliezer davened. He prayed to God, asking for divine guidance. He formulated a test. The girl who would not only offer him water, but extend kindness by offering water to his camels would be the wife of Yitzchak. So Eliezer approached the city well, where he encounters a young girl carrying a jug of water on her shoulders. When he requested water, she not only gave him water to drink, but eagerly gave more water for his many camels. And this act of extraordinary kindness revealed her character, fulfilling the sign that Eliezer davened, that he prayed for when he talked to God to find a wife for his master's son, Yitzchak. Upon asking her identity, Eliezer learned that her name was Rivka, and she was Avram's great niece, and at that moment he knew that she was destined to marry Yitzchak. Filled with gratitude, Eliezer thanks God for his clear guidance and his clear direction. Rivka ran home to share the events with her family. Her brother, Lavan, intrigued by the stranger, went out to greet Eliezer and invited him to stay. The following day, Rivka willingly agreed to travel back with Eliezer, knowing she was embarking on a journey to build the future and continue the legacy of Sarah Imenu. When Yitzchak meets Rivka, he brings her into his mother's tent to see if the miracles of Sarah's tent would return. These miracles about her Shabbos candles remaining lit from week to week, her dough staying fresh and multiplying as needed, and the divine cloud, the Ananei HaKavod, hovering over her tent. And when Sarah Imenu passed away, the miracles ceased to exist. Yet the moment that Rivka entered her tent, the miracles returned, signifying her unique spiritual greatness and the continuity of Sarah's legacy. The Parsha concludes with Avraham Avinu giving all of his possessions to Yitzchak Avinu, ensuring the continuity of his legacy through Sarah. And Avram passes away at the age of 175 years old and was buried by Yitzchak and Yishmael beside Sarah Imenu in the Ma'aras Machpelah in Chevron. Many people have a custom to go to the Ma'aras Machpelah in Chevron this upcoming Shabbos. However, a question comes to mind. Immediately following the negotiations for a burial spot for Sarah, the Torah tells us that Avraham Avinu was blessed with everything. V'Avraham zokein ba bayamim, v'Hashem bireches Avraham bakal. And Avraham was old, advanced in his days, and God had blessed him with everything. How can the Torah describe him being blessed with everything immediately following such a loss? He had to bury his wife and haggle for a cave to bury her in. Why does the Torah emphasize such a blessing at this seemingly difficult moment? How is this considered Berach Bakol, being blessed with everything? Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sacks, the blessed memory, discusses this question and adds to its depth in his book Covenant and Conversation. God promises Avram 5 separate times that the land of Canaan would be his, specifically after he circumcises himself at the age of 99 years old, solidifying the bond, solidifying the covenant between the Jewish people and God. He's also promised that we have many descendants, as his name was changed to Avraham of Hamon Goyim, the father of many nations. He was given this blessing 5 separate times as well. But at the age of 137, he has only but one son from Sarah who has passed on. He has not even a single inch of the promised land that he has not bought. How is this considered blessed? Rabbi Sacks explains that this Parsha, this Torah portion, can be divided into 2 distinct episodes: acquiring a burial spot for Sarah and securing and finding a wife for Yitzchak. When haggling over the price of the burial spot, Avram Avinu emphasizes his status as a ger, as a stranger in this land, acknowledging that while the land was promised to him, he still needed to acquire it through purchase. And even when he was offered it for free, he insisted on buying it with significant cost, ensuring that the transaction was meticulously recorded. And this act reflected Avram's understanding that God's promises must be actively pursued and solidified through effort and determination. In this second episode, Avram instructs his most trusted servant Eliezer to find a wife for his son Yitzchak from his own family, someone related to him not from the Canaan population. Avram's insistence highlights a striking reality. Despite living in the land promised by God, he neither owned it outright nor had a lineage to carry it forward to continue the covenant. And his decisions were now deliberate acts of faith, setting the foundation for the divine mission and his divine purpose. Rabbi Sacks writes that before Avram passed away, he actively worked to fulfill God's covenant through the purchase of a burial spot in the Ma'aras Machpelah and ensuring Yitzchak's marriage. He secured the first tangible steps to making God's promises his and our reality. By the time of his death, Avram merited not only a piece of the land, but also the birth of his 2 grandchildren, Yitzchak and Esav. From his own experiences, Avram knew that following God's path required unrelenting effort and perseverance. He faced trials before, leaving his homeland and enduring a famine that forced him down to Egypt, and understood that divine missions, divine purpose comes with challenges. Avram Avinu demonstrated that God's promises are not handed out without action. As Rabbi Sacks writes, the divine promise wasn't simply a guarantee that God would act on his own. Instead, it was an invitation for Avram to take action. God would support them. God would support him, and his promises would be fulfilled, but only through his unwavering commitment, even in the face of what might seem to be like impossible challenges. This is such a deep lesson, and it is as challenging as it is profound. God's promise is not an assurance that we can simply rely on him without effort. Rather, the covenant, the bris, the bond is a call to action, a divine challenge for us to realize our potential and bring the holiness into our physical world. As Avram buries Sarah, he understands that God is relying on him to act, to establish the covenant, to keep the continuity of her legacy in tangible ways. And this message is as relevant today as it was in Avram's time. Though we are guaranteed the land of Israel, it is our responsibility, our duty to protect it, to uphold our existence and ensure our survival within it. This challenge rests on every single soldier of the IDF fighting on the front lines. May God protect them, guard them, and bring them home. So in the war for survival, both in Israel and across the diaspora, we must ask ourselves, what are we willing to do to uphold God's covenant? How much are we prepared to sacrifice to ensure that his words remain alive for future generations? What steps must we take? What lessons must we learn to transform God's promises into our reality? To secure our future, we must adopt a perspective of unwavering faith and commitment, ready to face the challenges set before us with clarity, with faith, and resolve. And our journey begins with a commitment to just one mitzvah, however simple it may appear. And this is how we begin. This is how we start. One action, one step at a time. And as we continue to add to our efforts, the path forward becomes clearer, and the ultimate destination becomes more evident. Yerushalayim, Jerusalem, with the third temple, the third Beis Mikdash, and the coming of Mashiach. In our daily life, it is imperative to realize that dreams without goals are just that, dreams. Motivation without effort becomes nothing more than empty words carried by the wind. To bring our aspirations to life, we must take deliberate action, setting clear goals and pursuing them with dedication that is unwavering, turning inspiration into progress and ideas into tangible elements of our happiness and success. I will conclude with profound words from Rabbi Lord Sacks. Faith does not mean passivity. It means the courage to act and never to be deterred. The future will happen, but it is we, inspired, empowered, and given the strength by the covenant, by the promise, who must bring about their redemption. Have a great weekend and good Shabbos. Thank you for tuning in to the Parsha Perspective. Check out our website, theparshaperspective.com. Send thoughts and comments to theparshaperspective@gmail.com. Till next time, thanks for listening.